Um, Today I'd like to present you a thing that I call, philosophy of extreme complexity. This thing is what I've been working on for some time recently. The most direct expression of how I see things currently and what I think about different matters. Like it says, it's solid, and I hope you'll see that. I hope also that you'll be able to see that this thing is, quite logical, analytical, and based on data driven. There is nothing mystical about that. It's only data and pure logic. I hope so. So it's some amount of text not fit in the screen. So I would like to probably read that for you at the moment without any comments. Although I'm quite sure I'll be back to that text and to these ideas again and again and again. So, philosophy of extreme complexity, 8th of June 2025. Although it was initiated also almost a month before, so it took me some time to put my thoughts into this short text, into my notes. So, this philosophy is solid. If we start talking, it can seem like a bunch of different ideas, but it is not. It is one idea and it is solid. And because it is solid, if we start talking, we can start anywhere and we will inevitably come to the same. For example, we can start from everyday life, like, for example, from the question that I may ask you in the morning: what are you doing? What are you going to do today? And I imagine you probably will answer like, I am going to cook some food, watch a movie with my children, read a book, and do some stuff at home. I'll also pay some bills and need to talk to my neighbors about cutting the lawn in front of the house. And that is a lot of everything. Uh, the things that you name. And I assume that you'll actually do some of that, and what you do will inevitably be accompanied by a lot of emotions and thoughts. So, this is a lot of different stuff. And if so, you make choices what to give your attention to, and what not to give or give less, what to spend more time on, and what less. And if so, we find out that you are sort of keeping the balance of all that. And depending on how you feel about the different aspects of your life, your general feeling of how you are, or if you are happy, arises from. You may feel something is missing among all those balanced things, or that something takes too much of you, giving you no space for other important things. So, this is about balance again. Obviously, you can develop some kind of lack of balance. This happens. So, if so, you'll probably feel unhappy and stressed. And there is no ease in this. You can suffer, and this can last long. And it is quite logical to think that if you are at point A and you do not feel good, you need to act to go to B. I mean, act. Start a new project, read a book, study a language, relocate to another country, anything. But let me tell you something. This acting is only one of two things required. Let me provide you with the analogy. Let's say you live in a megapolis and you drive a car. So A is a point where you are. and you understand you need to go somewhere because you do not like this A, so you need to go. And yes, there is somewhere in the city a point B where you need to be. But imagine you do not know how to navigate there and you do not have a bare understanding of what this B is. Yes, you may act, but the chance that you will accidentally find yourself at B is not that big. Yes, you may. Okay. So, besides acting, you desperately need the second thing, an understanding of where you want to arrive. We know a great number of examples of people acting and finding themselves again and again at some new point, while still not at the one that would provide some satisfaction or calm. So, you need knowledge. And you do not actually need guesses that you might test again and again. You need something stronger. And that questions the reality. What do we know about it and about ourselves as a part of it? Here one starts to learn, and what one learns very quickly is that reality by itself is a very silent thing. The lawn behind the window keeps silence, along with the trees, sky, and mountains. But people do not do the same. They talk, generations and now alive, through books and other sources of and directly. But they use language, words, so they create symbolic systems, models, descriptions. They create maps, and the map is never an area depicted on it. Moreover, there are a lot of models and they differ. Thus, we need to solve two problems simultaneously again. We do need a map because it is useful, and without it, we have all the chances to get lost. And we need to get there, as the map itself, no matter how detailed and adequate it is not an area. And knowing the map is not being in the area. So, how to solve them both? The problem of the good map can be solved by learning. We analyze data to understand which model is the best and dismiss the others. Use logic and intellect here. Searching for the best theory starts with dismissing simply wrong models, the ones that contradict observation and facts. The theory saying that there can be only one bed in a single room of an apartment is wrong as soon as we find or organize at least one room with two beds. Next, we dismissed models that do not contradict any known facts, but are not reasonable, meaning we do not have any reasons to think that way. Like the model in which an invisible and mighty flying spaghetti monster causes the solar system's planet movement, this theory doesn't contradict any facts. But what are the reasons to assume that? Next, we dismissed the theories that are not wrong and that are not reasonable but have less or no explanatory power. How, for example, any theistic religion starting with a good reason to think that an extreme complexity of reality and life has some intelligence behind it is a model explaining so many things by the will and actions of God, but not explaining his mechanisms, the reasons of made decisions, and what it is at all. They have an explanatory power very close to zero. Or panpsychism, saying the little consciousness combine into more complex ones, never closing the gap with an explanation of how exactly they combine. Or materialism, having problems with explaining what the matter actually is and what the place and origin of the mind in the material world is. What remains is the best model so far. There is no reason to use worse. Let me be short here about it. The most common observable thing in reality is that it includes matter, whatever it is, and mind. Next, mind states are strongly correlated to brain activities, and there is no approximation to explaining how exactly the matter of the brain could cause the mind, as well as there is no reason to think that some third thing producing both mind and matter exists. At the same time, we have an observable, very often in nature, and a clear mechanism of how the mind can produce matter and objects. This is dissociation. Take a dream you experience every night as a model. So that highlights the model, which is not wrong, reasonable, and has maximum explanatory power so far. In this model, there should be a mind in at large that creates all individual minds and objects, matter, by dissociation. In short, you are it. And at the same time, by doing of dissociation, you are not it, you are you. Having that model in hand, we can never forget that it is a map. The area for it is a wider you and the mind at large, with an enormous amount of knowledge, memory, aspects, and variations. So, my single thought is that if you're unhappy, go to the area by lowering dissociation with psychedelics or same effect non drug methods. Integrating obtained aspects of experience and getting there again and again if necessary, introducing your new aspects of personality to gain more aspects of yourself and mind at large and further improve. Per the model, a dissociated does not see the whole and does not see you, and even more does not see the whole and you together. So you can let go of all said before. Same courses you can let go of all said after. Per the model, experienced is an unbreakable mixture of what comes from you and it, filtered and represented to make sense of the current step. Thus, you and it stay aligned, so you can go without fear. Thus, you cannot interpret literally. Per the model, the mind at large does not have any outside reality it could have wake up into. So what is contained within it cannot ever be opposed to anything, and thus can never be called illusion. The dissociation itself, these dissociated selves, and all that becomes objects when observed from within the dissociative boundary is real. Moreover, what comes not from you, dissociated self, is objectively real. Per data, the dissociation is protected by all kinds of resistance, including distractions, redundant models, cascade impressions of achievement, direct inner counterstand, imitative or suppressing social institutions, and integration limited to alterations in some attitudes, lessening some neurotic and psychotic symptoms, and to a degree of zero in other aspects in a vast majority of cases. I think many statements from here may seem not obvious after first, second, third reading of them. I'm quite sure there will be a chance to discuss any of these statements and go to some details that would be curious, that would be interesting. Hope this will happen in some moment in the future. Bye.